Real quickly before we begin, I want to thank this video's sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com can save you lots of money on buying used or new vehicles, cars, trucks, school buses. If you want to save money, I'll have a link in the description down below. I know I'm going to
Think it can't happen here? Austin bombers capture exposes depth of U.S. surveillance state. Profile picture for user Tyler Durden. By Tyler Durden. Tuesday, March 27, 2018, 23:35. Authored by Jeremiah Johnson via shtfplan.com. Many have argued that there is neither a surveillance state, nor a concerted effort to disarm the public door-to-door, house by house, etc. Some of these are far leftists, masquerading as conservatives, trying to appear skeptically cynical. We'll game the thought, to bring everyone back from opacity to transparency. The communists, Marxists, leftists, progressives, liberals, Democrats, and their ilk deliberately try to disguise the true objectives as outlined in the planks of the Communist Party, passing themselves off as middle ground in their stances. By denigrating the concept of an imminent surveillance state and ridiculing it, they draw conservatives who are still undecided, fringe elements, out of being proponents of the idea, further weakening and obfuscating people's awareness. The movement of the groups mentioned never ceases. It hasn't ceased with the fall of the Berlin Wall and subsequent reunification of Germany in 1990, nor the fall of the Soviet Union, more a restructuring than a fall, in 1992. The communists are alive and well, operating within the United States at the lowest levels of society, and at the highest levels of government. We'll stay with communists as the label, as they are the end state, and will purge all the others who aren't in complete lockstep with them. They are communists. That being mentioned, as they craft their narratives and lie openly upon the television, radio, and within the newspapers, there is a subtle, devious operation going on right before your eyes. The emplacement of a complete surveillance state of cameras and listening devices, all a part of the wondrous Internet of Things. For that last paraphrase, thank David Petraeus, former head of the CIA, in name only, yet without the technical alacrity to avoid the very thing he lauded, and hence, his downfall via Paula Bridewell. Thanks, Dave, for your erstwhile contribution to crafting the surveillance state. Dave serves as the prime example. No matter how much of a big hitter toward the NWO, New World Order, a globalist or establishmentarian one is, they are always expendable. The surveillance state has just been proven with the recent string of bombings in Austin, Texas, where the protagonist blew himself up when he was tailed and cornered. This article was released by AP, written by Paul J. Weber on March 22, 18, and it seems to have escaped much notice. I am providing an excerpt that is almost the full article. When you read it, you will see why it is so important. Here it is. How police finally found the Austin bomber. Austin, Texas, AP, the suspected Austin bomber is dead after terrorizing Texas capital city for 3 weeks. And in the end, the manhunt wasn't cracked by hundreds of phoned-in tips, the big pot of reward money, or police pleading to the bomber through TV. One of the largest bombing investigations in the U.S. since the Boston Marathon attacks in 2013 came to an intense close early Wednesday when authorities say they moved in on Mark Anthony Condit at an interstate hotel. Austin Police Chief Brian Manley said Condit blew himself up after running his sport utility vehicle into a ditch. Here is what's known about how authorities finally zeroed in on the suspected bomber after 19 days, 2 dead victims and more than 1,000 calls of suspicious packages around the city. Getting the bomber on camera. Condit had been careful to avoid cameras before entering a FedEx store in southwest Austin this week disguised in a blonde wig and gloves, said U.S. House Homeland Security Chairman Michael McCaul. The Austin congressman had been briefed by police, the FBI, and the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives. McCaul said going into the store was Condit's fatal mistake. He said authorities previously had leads on a red truck and that the surveillance video from the FedEx store where Condit is believed to have dropped off an explosive package destined for an Austin address allowed investigators to identify him and the truck. Said Texas Governor Greg Abbott, "I'm not sure how much they narrowed him down to an exact person of who he was before he went into that FedEx store. Tracking the cell phone. At the FedEx store, McCall said investigators got from surveillance the truck license plate that linked the vehicle to Condit, which in turn gave authorities a cell phone number they could track. McCall said Condit had powered down his phone for quite some time but that police closed in when he switched it back on. He turned it on, it pinged, and then the chase ensued, McCall said. Abbott said police were able to closely monitor Condit and his movements for about 24 hours before his death. The governor said the phone number was used to tie Condit to bombing sites around Austin. The suspect's cell phone number showed up at each of the bombing sites as well as some key locations that helped them connect him to the crime, Abbott said. Buying bomb-making materials. Authorities say they also tracked down Condit, a 23-year-old unemployed college dropout, through witness accounts and other purchases, including at a Home Depot where McCall said the suspect bought nails and other bomb-making materials. Abbott said Condit's purchases at the Home Depot also included 5 children at play signs, one of which was used to rig a tripwire that was set off by 2 men Sunday in a southwest Austin neighborhood. One of them was walking and the other was riding a bike. William Groh told the Associated Press that his grandson was one of the victims and had nails embedded in his legs from Sunday's explosion. The batteries to power the bomb were purchased through the internet, McCall said. Still putting together a profile. The initial bomber profile sketched out by FBI behavioral scientists was that he was most likely a white male, McCall said. And while that part was right, the congressman said, a full psychological profile won't come together until investigators have time to comb through Condit's writings and social media posts. Condit's motive is not clear. But on Wednesday, police discovered a 25-minute video recording on a cell phone found with Condit, which Manley said he considers a confession to the bombings. Manley said it described the differences among the bombs in great detail. Obviously, someone made a big mistake in revealing this information to the stultified, oblivious public, that self-same public of we the people that has the right to know, and yet doesn't understand what is happening. Worse, the public doesn't care what's happening. Let's summarize what these main points mean, for those of you who do care. The cellular telephone is nothing more than a tracking device. As mentioned, it pings its position and gives away the location of the owner, along with all of his vital information in the file, every 4 seconds. The cell phone's location is tied into the location of every camera, public and private, that has a tie-in to the CCTV system monitored by law enforcement in the fusion centers, from the Happy Burger parking lot cameras to the cameras mounted at the intersections in cities, towns, and suburbs. As the Happy cell phone passes these locations, the movement is tracked in real time, and recorded. Granted, they had a suspect, but they can review all of the cameras at any business at any given time, to show what Joe the plumber turned bomber may be purchasing at the friendly store, and they can tie that film in with real time with the cell phone. The vehicle is also the buddy of the police and the surveillance establishment. They take pictures and film of the license plate, the car, and glimpses of Joe the plumber driving it, corroborated by the Happy, ever-pinging cellular telephone, the tracking device. All this data for everyone's movements is recorded, catalogued, and stored away for an indefinite period of time, forever, until the information is needed as evidence or in an investigation. Investigation. Doesn't that sound exciting? Guess what? Everyone is being investigated, and all of the data on everyone is kept. Purchases. Everybody has to buy things, stuff, etc. Every time you pull up to the gas pump, the car is photographed. The POS, point of sale, at the register tabulates and inventories everything, tying it into the gas pump, with a picture of Joe and whatever form of fiat he used to pay for the gas and bag of chips. Purchases track in real time, access whatever form of payment you use, tying you in with others, if you use your spouse's credit card, for example. Cops have license plate/tag readers that can read hundreds of different plates, categorizing all of them in accordance with sensitive data that may have nothing to do with driving upon the roads or their record with the vehicle. Every internet search, every purchase, every query, every email is saved and read/tabulated into the overall matrix that assesses the potential for an individual to be harmful and stored, to be matched against the subject's behavior and movements at a later date. Systems are already in place that analyze keystrokes for the comparison and narrowing down of who the typist is. Every library sign-out, film, music, or book, is saved and kept for future reference. Biometrics are making the fingerprint even more specific, with eye-to-eye distances, ear shapes, and gaits measured. Any exposed portion of the skin, and the movement and function of the limbs is analyzed and recorded. Every piece of mail is scanned to save sender and recipient's addresses and, of course, purchases are recorded within the company and matched against what is sent out and to whom. Satellites can target and surveil in real time and tie into all of the little devices just mentioned. Laptop computers can be traced in accordance with the purchaser's information from the POS and onward, and the laptop's record, photograph, and film, as well as putting forth a ping of their own, especially when connected to the internet. All laptop use is matched and corresponded to other places of business, their cameras, etc. Association, when you're on your laptop, and here come smiling Sam and brother Bob, each with pinging cell phones, letting the authorities know that in that moment of time, Whitney Houston's One Moment in Time, Sam and Bob were right in front of you. Later they can haul both of them in to corroborate that you were on your laptop in front of Happy Burger at whatever date or time they have on record. This excerpt shows that all of these items are in place. Yes, they are surveilling you, or watching all of us. The surveillance is not ubiquitous yet. Not yet. It will be, and soon. They utilized every feature mentioned above to find the bomber. Great. Society has triumphed, and the mad bomber has met his end. But has society really triumphed? That article gives you insight into how the cage is almost completed, the construction is just about finished. What requires further thought is what they will do with this surveillance once it is in place and ubiquitous. Just a few further thoughts for your consideration. You may want to watch what you place into your emails and comments. There are techies in the Puzzle Palace and at FT Mead whose function is identifying the commenters. Don't place anything on the internet that can come back and bite you later. The most effective means of exchange are not on the internet when it comes to information. Blogs, writers, and commenters have already been marginalized and their effectiveness diminished because it is an open source. Your true effectiveness in getting things done is at the grassroots level, locally, in small groups for discussion. Your tool of transmission is a manual typewriter. Need copies? Get back to carbon paper. There won't be a recording of what you copied at your friendly copy center, the one with your information in real time, right under the eye of the happy surveillance camera in the corner. The one that superficially is to make sure you don't take more than 1 or 2 paper clips, but manages to send the fusion centers every bit of data they need to match up their culprit, the copier, to the scene of the crime. They'll also match up his credit card at the register, tally up his total purchases and copies over a period of time, and get plenty of information as it films him walking through the store and out the door. Bottom line, we're all guilty according to laws they haven't even written yet. It is all about building a case against the average citizen. If you're not the wolves, then you're one of the cattle, in their eyes. It will become worse. Much, much worse. If you doubt it and do not take necessary precautions, you may find out it exists when they come knocking on the door. It may already be too late, and their song is "We've Only Just Begun," by Karen Carpenter. But not to smile. They've been doing that for years, as they have taken our taxes to craft the very cages that are almost completed. The next step? Not hard to figure out, and it has happened before, as history repeats itself. Think Solzhenitsyn, and think of tomorrow.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.